YouTube Buzzik, Go in the Goat House is back. Today I have 10 free agents that teams must avoid overpaying in free agency. And I kind of fear, not the end of the world, but I kind of fear that teams probably will overpay these guys. We'll break down what I mean. We'll break down some numbers here. We got all kinds of free agency content on the channel already, similar to this. Definitely more to come. We grade every free agency signing. We break the news on Twitter for every signing, so check us out there. Links down below. Patreon has bonus content. Again, any link you're looking for, pinned down in the comments there. Like, subscribe, turn notifications on. Full NFL coverage. No one covers the offseason like us. We got draft content as well. So join us. It'd be much appreciated. This is our Patreon page. Bonus offseason content. Definitely more to come. Free agency rankings plus some predictions, other options for landing spots. Live cap space updates, potential cuts with like the cap numbers, savings, everything that you need there. So some good stuff. More to come. Talking about Brandon Scherff. Very solid. All these guys are very good players, by the way. Very good players. Teams will be getting better by adding these players. Not the end of the world if you overpay a little bit. Want to avoid too much overpay. And again, I grade every signing, but if guys overpaid a little bit, doesn't necessarily mean I grade it bad or anything like that. But Brandon Scherff, very good guard from the Washington Commanders. Potential to be a Pro Bowl guard, at any time if he's healthy. That's the big if, though. Coming off the franchise tag for a couple years, which was pretty pricey. So that's kind of why he wanted the franchise tag in the past, because it was more than it would have paid him per year. But I would like teams. This is one where I really think somebody's going to overpay. I would like for teams to keep it at $12.5 million per year or under, and that's mainly, again, very talented, but it's mainly because of the injury concern. Hasn't played a full season since 2016. Last time he played 14 games was 2017. Ever since then, it's been under that. He's going to get you some good play, but can he stay? I mean, we're talking last full season, 2016. So, little tricky there. I know teams are desperate for offensive line help. Here's an opportunity to definitely get better, but I'm definitely thinking somebody's going to overpay. I just hope not too much over this $12.5 million range. Hopefully with a team with a lot of cap space there, but we will see. But at the end of the day, they're getting a good guard. It's just some injury concern, obviously. Talk about some more offensive linemen. Trent Brown, very solid right tackle from the New England Patriots. Another guy that has had some injury concern. He's also had that kind of that Patriot thing going where you're really only good when you're on the Patriots for some reason. I don't think that's actually, in my opinion, I don't think that's actually the case for Trent Brown. When we saw him on the field for the Raiders, I thought he was pretty solid. I thought he was pretty damn solid. He just wasn't on the field a whole lot. Seemed to be, could be wrong, there seemed to be some motivation issues too with him. So is he only motivated with the Patriots? Does he only fit the Patriots? So it's a tricky one. Will teams think like that? If teams think like what I'm saying right now, then they may not offer a lot, and then the Patriots gain leverage over Trent Brown, where they should be able to get a bargain deal then. So Patriots, if they kind of got leverage where they're the only team that would pay X amount of dollars, they cannot overpay. But there always could be that team desperate, because everyone's desperate for offensive linemen. There always could be that team that's desperate for a right tackle, and boom, they're paying over $12 million. And again, he's pretty talented. Just will he stay healthy? So it's a little bit of a tricky one. Right tackle market not as big as the left tackle. It's getting there though, so that's why price point maybe a little bit down for the right tackles, but still pretty pricey there. We'll see what happens. I'm thinking the Patriots should gain leverage over him, because he wants to be there where other teams value him as much. So you really know a reason you should overpay. So Patriots a little thin on cap because they went crazy last year with it. So hopefully they don't do it. I think Scherff's more likely to get overpaid. Another offensive lineman. This is one where I think a lot of you out there are going to be like, whoa, Cam Robinson got paid that much. Because I think the mistake people make, it's not really that much of a mistake, but people make is kind of look at how he was currently playing, and he's not playing that well. He's playing decent, maybe at best sometimes. But it's really not all about that. He's a young tackle. He's got upside. It's rare these types of guys hit the market. So he's going to get – it's a guy on this list that is going to get paid more than you think, but I also think he's going to get overpaid a little bit here. But you see that price range, $15 million. If he gets that, it's risky. It's going to be risky no matter what. I'm good with it. A lot of you out there might think it's an overpay, but I kind of worry a team's going to go over that mark because, again, teams want to work with the young left tackle with experience, with upside. Teams want to work with that. They want to be able to get a franchise left tackle out of this and not have to worry about the position for a long time. Problem with that is if it's a bidding war and he takes the four-year deal, we'll say, for big money, you're kind of locked into him depending on the layout, but you're kind of locked into him for 4 years. And what if he doesn't work? Then you got a franchise left tackle that's just not working out. So it's pretty risky. I like the gamble, though. I do like, and that's why I got it up at 15. But people, again, might think that's high. I think he's probably going to get more than that. So it's a bit of a gamble that could pay off. It could be worth it even if it doesn't, depending on the price. We will see. Offensive linemen are going to be very interesting because there's kind of limited decent ones here with experience. I guess it comes to, would you rather pay a guy long-term with upside, or would you pay a guy 1 or 2 year deal that's a veteran guy? It depends on the team, obviously, here. Dalton Schultz, tight end from the Cowboys. A lot of buzz about him maybe getting good money unless the Cowboys could franchise tag him. It's definitely possible. They don't want to lose him. It was big time for them. But, again, very solid tight end, receiving ability, pretty balanced, blocking ability, getting better. He's a very solid player here. Yeah, is it a system thing, though? The Cowboys, Jarwin looked like this, and then he got that contract, and Schultz looked like that, like Jarwin did, maybe a step up, and now is he going to get that contract? Jarwin kind of going to waste. So the Cowboys, what are they? Are they doing something wrong there? But they're also doing something right on the field with these guys. Are they maybe not as good elsewhere? It's a little bit of a gamble. I like to think he's still solid elsewhere. Does he need the right talent around him? Look at the weapons the Cowboys had. You look at and the Patriots signed 2 guys last year, Hunter Henry, Jonnu Smith. $12.5 million per year is what they got. It's only been 1 year, but people may say Jonnu Smith, that was definitely an overpay. Hunter Henry was a big-name guy, big-time red zone guy. Should Schultz get up there? Are teams a little cautious overpaying tight ends now? Should he get the big Hunter Henry contract? Schultz might do more before the red zone than him. There's a lot of things up in the air here, so I do worry a team's going to pay him like he's proven more like. Which he is. Is he proven in a different system? I think he's solid. I think a team can get better with this guy, but there's some questions there, as you can tell. I think somebody may go for that 12.5, maybe 13 range. Wouldn't be the end of the world, but 13 might be a little bit. But keep it around this range, in my opinion. So we'll see. And the Cowboys maybe they tag him, and that's the end of that. Teams don't get a shot, so we will see. Next up. Mike Williams of the Chargers. A lot of people got free agency rankings out there. I happen to see some here and there, and every single one I see, Mike Williams, it seems to be at not the very tippity top of the rankings, but pretty damn close, and it surprises me a little bit. Solid receiver, still somewhat young, getting better, kind of having a broke-out season. I think he's one of the best contested catchers in football. So very, very solid receiver, big season production-wise. What I don't like, a little inconsistent there. Sometimes he'll disappear, and I think that's due to that he doesn't get the most separation. He makes ridiculous catches, but then sometimes he'll just drop one. It's quite a few in the end zone, I felt like, this year. A crucial third down for the first down conversion. So it's a little tricky. I compare to a guy like Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson, also a free agent. Allen Robinson, an outside receiver, big body guy, contested catcher. Maybe the negative, he doesn't get a lot of separation, kind of like Mike Williams, Similar, very similar. I think mistake people are making, I think, are looking at just this last year. That's it, just the last year. And just Mike Williams is better. That's what people say just off that. There's no question in my mind. I think Allen Robinson's a better receiver here, and that's kind of the question. Will Mike Williams, I think he might get paid more than Allen Robinson. How much will he get paid? With the Chargers really like him. They got a lot of cap space, but they can't really keep the Chargers. That is, can't really keep the same thing going too, though, because they weren't really good enough. And that Justin Herbert was more than good enough, but in that category, a lot of drop balls, led the league. Not a lot of separation. Almost want them to get better. I'd rather them go for Allen Robinson, honestly. But Mike Williams is good with them. He's got upside. I just worry he's going to get money just based off of 1 year of production, just the stats, over 1K yards, which a lot of guys are getting over 1K these days. So I worry about that one a bit. I really wouldn't. I gave some leeway with this one too. Me personally, I wouldn't really go that close to 16, but I think he might even get over that. So that's kind of what I'm watching and what I'm a little worried about. Good player, though. Good player, getting better. It's just everyone has different value. Marcus Williams, safety of the Saints, very solid young safety here that could be getting better still going forward. What I do like is it's kind of what I like and I don't like at the same time. What I like, because the Saints got such a specific scheme. They run a lot of two-man under. Not a lot of teams running as much as the Saints of that. Not a lot of teams could kind of perfect that. So, which is what it sounds like. It's man coverage under, and then you have the two guys over the top, which is the safeties, 50% of the field. But a lot of it, what Marcus Williams is good at, reading the quarterback, reading the ball, making the play on the ball. If somebody leaks out wide open kind of by mistake, he's good at finding them. Hard to do. So that's kind of the good thing. Saints technically sound defense. Guys usually covered up, so that means it's kind of a double team a lot though. Corners are man on their guy. They go deep. Safety's got help over the top. So going to a new team, it's kind of the good and the bad. Going to the new team, good is maybe he can help you run that. More teams do want to run some two-man under. Good is could branching out run a different system, help him branch out, help him get better. The risk is he kind of just fit for that specific coverage scheme, with a heavy two-man under scheme there. So it is it's an interesting one. So it's a little risky. I thought he played better. Another thing, I thought he played better 2 years ago than this year. Still a solid safety. Could have some upside there. Not a lot of safeties, but there are some safeties getting paid some crazy money right now, getting close to the $18 million. Is that just the thing? Are we throwing that at all these safeties? So I don't really want that to happen here. I think he's a fine safety, but I'd rather keep it under that $14 million range. Interesting one. Saints could tag him again. They could. It may not come down to this. I believe the second tag would be below this still, close to that. So it may not come down to somebody overpaying him. They could tag him again. We will see what happens there. Jadeveon Clowney's a big one. I think I fear he's going to get overpaid here. Jadeveon Clowney, big name guy. He's got some talent. He could play. Played opposite of Myles Garrett this year. That definitely helped him a bit. Maybe stayed healthy compared to what he's normally at. He signed with the Titans. Was that before this year? Thought that was a big sign that they'd elevate their defense. Didn't really play that well. Didn't see a whole lot of him because he has that injury concern. I just like him for the Browns. I don't want a team to pay him and expect these big things again. He doesn't produce or he's not super healthy. I just really don't want a team to do that. I fear a team, he's not going to get paid top-tier money, but I am really scared a team comes along and gives him that in between this and top-tier money, like 15. I'm scared. I'm a little scared. Shouldn't happen, especially with this. Have you seen the edge rush draft class? It is ridiculous. Absolutely loaded. One of the best we've ever seen. So, and I'm talking about depth. It's deep, so starters, but depth within the draft. Teams shouldn't do it. And it comes to the Browns. Do teams think what I'm thinking? Are they already thinking that? And then he's pretty much just for the Browns. Then the Browns absolutely must not overpay. They can't do it. You gain the leverage over the player because other teams don't really think he's a fit. They're a little worried, so you shouldn't pay him. It shouldn't take up, half your free agency here, which would it be? So a little scared about that one, honestly. Solid player, had a really good year. I just like him with the Browns. I don't want him to get more money than this because then teams will be spending a little bit too much. Another pass rusher, Emmanuel Ogbah, 11.5, about in that same range. The reason I have him a little more than Clowney, even though Clowney's a bigger name, you can definitely debate who's better. Ogbah a year younger, doesn't have that health concern that Clowney has, so that's why it's a 0.5 more, $500K more. But this one's a risk for other teams as well because Emmanuel Ogbah struggled elsewhere, goes to the Dolphins, revives his career. Now, is it a coincidence? Is there a reason? I think there's a reason. I think it's I think he just fits that Dolphin system, which is pretty unique. This year they mixed it up a bit, but a lot of blitzing. He's a good player, getting better, but he could be feasting off the blitz a little bit, So I think he kind of needs that specific scheme there, And so I don't want a team to go out and pay him and just expect that production that he did, the same production that he's been doing with the Dolphins. Same thing though. Could teams be thinking that he wasn't that great of a player before the Dolphins? what's passed, then I definitely don't want the Dolphins to overpay then, because you're kind of gaining that leverage over the player. Where if he's demanding this much, you just let him go test, because those teams aren't going to pay big money. Well, we'll see. So the Dolphins definitely can't overpay either if they gain that leverage like I'm talking about. Next, talk about a corner, Stephon Gilmore, defensive player year not that long ago. He still can play, but a veteran corner, could say aging a little bit. It's tough to say though, because he still can play. Does have some injury concern. This is a very tricky one. Like, how much? Seems like the veteran corners are getting paid less. The younger corners that have upside are getting paid, around that range, a little more. So where do you pay a guy like this? Nobody really traded it. Nobody did trade anything for him, and the Panthers got a steal on him. So are other teams not that interested out there? It's a little tricky. Maybe teams aren't. Maybe it's only the Panthers, like we talk about, like the trade market. So then the Panthers can't overpay. They should get a lot cheaper if that's the case than this number I have right there. If that's the case, but some team could be desperate for a corner, come along and pay the guy. It depends on how they lay out that contract, but I would worry. I don't think it's going to happen. I worry a team get a long-term deal with 14 per year or more per year. That wouldn't be ideal, in my opinion, with the guy that's not the youngest of the crew out there and does have the injury concern, but still very talented. I like him back on the Panthers for less than this, but we'll see, because he's a big-name guy. Could team just throw money at him? Something I noticed this year, a lot of the good defenses their weak spot seem to be corners. They seem to be making other things more valuable, covering up that. So I really don't want teams to overpay for corners this year. Another corner here, Casey Hayward, who signed for pretty damn cheap last year. He played well last year, so that maybe that and the cap went up too, so that should bump his price up a little bit. But there's a reason why he was cut and signed for cheap. He's pretty scheme specific. He's a zone coverage corner, but he's mainly a cover three. Heavy cover three. He's gonna be able to run other coverages, but heavy cover three. So because he's so coverage specific, there's teams that, even though they know he's a good player, not interested. That's what they're going to do. He's a good player. I don't know if that's how it should be, but that's just how it's going to be. Not interested. So there's only going to be a couple, maybe a handful of teams that are actually interested. So they kind of gain leverage. So they definitely cannot overpay. He's up there. He's also going to be 33. I still think he's good, though, but he's just so scheme-specific, and teams are starting to go away from running, like we talked about. He's very good at cover three, runs a lot of cover three in his past. Teams are kind of starting to steer away from just running one coverage to see what's taking over defensively, just mixing it up. So you want those guys that do that. Something interesting I noticed, he was on the Chargers. Gus Bradley was defensive coordinator. Gus Bradley is known for running a ton of cover three. He gets let go. He's with the Raiders. Defense coordinator Casey Hayward gets cut, ends up with the Raiders. Gus Bradley now is going to be with the Colts. So am I seeing a trend here? But so if that's the case, he's playing there, they definitely can. They probably should get cheaper in this. Cheaper than the 7.5. It probably should be a bargain deal again, because it's not too many teams that are going to be pounding the table for him. They're not going to view him as a fit. Again, good player still. But we'll see. So these are guys that all of these guys are good players. Teams will be getting better with these players, or even if they stay on their team, that's good. Just kind of fear a little bit that teams may look at it the wrong way, may overpay a little bit. I just hope overpaying a little bit, it happens. And bidding wars happen. You got to have this guy, you want to get better. So it's not the end of the world at all. I just don't want teams to overpay a lot. So that's kind of my take, why I wanted to make this video. We got all kinds of videos like this on the channel. Definitely more to come. We grade every free agency signing. We cover the draft fully as well. So join us, like, subscribe, turn notifications on. Be much appreciated. There's links, important links down below. That Twitter's an absolute must follow there. So check it out. That is going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.